Sonny, Joey, 500. Got some goats in the building.
Get ready for a shakedown.
Prepare for a shakedown. We from Philly where they clap like huddles when they break down. Get ready for a shakedown. We underdogs, my guy. Kinda used to all the hate now. Prepare for it, man. Y'all get it. My QB got swag. My wideout is award winning. This fly was fly. Joey and 500. Like and subscribe. Yeah. Here's a quote you can sing back. Shake squad up and don't be a dingbat. It's a shakedown.
Don't you frown. Here comes the shakedown.
Let's go.
Yo, by the way, King Dig back here. Welcome to Philly Shakedown Podcast, dude. I hate.
He almost left me out of. He almost left me out of the stream.
Before, if you just click on it, it just goes to the 2. Now you got the whole thing where you have to remove it or you have to hit the other. It's like all switched up. I don't know what they're doing. They screw me up. I'm not used to it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Philly Shakedown Podcast, where the Eagles got to make some moves or something. It's awfully quiet. Awfully quiet, I'll tell you that. But you know how he's getting ready to strike. What is up, Lord of Darkness, Deep Space, Daniel Ruiz, Tanner, KGK, Kyle, El Yepa, the Fan DeLorean. What's going on? Mav, what's up? Hey, Mav, no angry faces emojis. What's up? Stinky Fish, MJ, what's going on? Lil G Griffith, K Robinson, thank you for being here. Radio Guru and everybody. And if I missed you, I apologize. Nathan, Dockery, Pat Ryan, Trey, John Jones, Bruce, thank you guys so much for being here. Man, it's been kind of quiet on the home front with the Eagles, but it just makes me think that they're looking at this draft, and this draft they're going to be very, very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Yeah, no, I think everything's based off of this draft. There's still some unanswers. There's some answers that are still not, answered yet. With this roster, if you want to talk, what are they doing with Bryce Huff? What's going on with Dallas Goedert with his cap number? Are they still going after a bridge safety? I mean, they tried to sign one in Justin Reed, and he ended up going to the Saints. So the draft is it's really not. I don't feel like they're narrowing down like what they're. I mean, they obviously know what they're doing. Like us, like I feel like it can go a lot of positions on the defensive side of the ball. So still got a lot to do right now. Totally.
They could even go. I mean, they've had quite a few offensive linemen in for visits already this week. So that may be a sneaky position to watch out for. I obviously trust what Stoutland does. So they may feel like we could draft a guy at 32. Not that they'll be at 32, but we could draft a guy there and he can develop them. So offensive line is a position to watch because they're coming in for visits. But I still think, man, I'm still with the safety. To me, I want to get this secondary sewed up for the next 5-6 years. So Blaze, thank you so much for the super chat. What up, guys? What's going on? How are you?
What's up, Dave?
Carlos, thank you for the super chat. Don't you frown. It's Philly Shakedown. Gentlemen, I have a feeling we will get that notification on draft night that the Birds moved up or picked up an impact player like we did AJ to fill hole. I think so. I think the Eagles are going to be extremely aggressive. I do. I had a poll up for the show talking about what the Eagles should do in the draft. Should they trade up? Should they stay at 32? Or should they move back? And most people said trade up. I think they're coming up. Like I think the least likely thing is that they stay at 32.
They got Eric, and they got 4 fifth-round picks as well, so they got some ammo as well. So
they got plenty of ammo, and they're not going to use all those picks in the next 2 years. So you might as well move some of it. Eric, I remember for 18 months, I can't believe it's Matt Corral jersey season already. I know,
getting close.
I'm ready, man. Now we did lose Avonte Maddox to the Detroit Lions. Yesterday? His big ass toe is taking its way to Detroit. And I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, he came up big in the Super Bowl with a big 4th down play. But yeah, I mean, Avonte Maddox is now gone. So we'll see what they do. Inside
corner, there's the depth behind it is it's not great right now. We don't even know if this cornerback 2 spot is it really going to be between Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo and competition. I mean, we don't even know if the competition is going to be there. I have no idea, dude. I have no idea.
There's rumors out there that the Eagles are one of few teams interested in Stephon Gilmore. Now, to me, this doesn't really excite me much. I don't like, if you're going to pay for a guy that old, why not just bring Slay back for another year? I don't want to see Gilmore. I don't want to see Gilmore here. I'd rather go with Adoree and let Ringo try to win the job. I mean, I want to keep it fairly young,
Yes.
And that kind of thing. So, we'll see. Let's see here. What is it? Leon Banks, David Super Chat. He goes, been a boring all season. Also, I'm calling now how he makes a trade draft day trade like he did getting Swift and AJ. Also, Dallas lost Cooks. Yeah, they lost Cooks. They're going to need a second wide receiver, in my opinion, and they need a running back. But to me, I hope that the Eagles go safety and fill that spot, because that's a giant hole right now. There's talk about Justin Simmons, and then the Julian Blackmon, but like, I don't know, why not just draft a guy and plug him in and let him play?
Yeah, I think part of it too is because I think a lot of these, because the market is getting so expensive for edge rushers now, even DTs at this point, that the late teens to the early 20s could be a lot of pass rushers coming off the board. So realistically, towards 28, maybe 26 to 28, they can have the pick of the litter at safety. Like they might be able to move up a few spots, without giving up too much, and they can pick whoever they want. So they might have the best safety of this draft, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to depend how the whole thing goes. I'm operating under the belief that this is going to be a heavy defensive line draft early. I think after you get through those top 13 picks, I think you're going to see a run on defensive linemen, especially edge rushers. Nobody wants to pay $40+ million to these edge rushers. If you could get a guy on a rookie contract, you're going to do it. And I think that's going to dictate the draft and how it goes. And that's why I think guys like Malachi Starks kind of fall in the draft. I mean, I've seen him go as early as 13. 13. It's crazy. But, we're going to have to see how the whole thing goes. But, when I look at this team, man, the glaring weakness for me on defense is that safety spot. And then the whole thing with Dallas Goedert just confuses the crap out of me. I don't understand what the plan is there.
I get like he's not healthy 5 to 8 games a season. You get that Grayson kid that seems to be like the best guy that could be the number 2 behind him, and Calcaterra behind that maybe. But I think you're just how long is this going to go on? The longer you wait, you're just creating a hole at this point. And unless they have a plan this draft to go get a tight end, maybe a tight end falls on the second day. I don't know. But, from what I think that might happen, they might just restructure this deal and just redo his 1-year deal and just have him here for 1 more year.
Yeah. Daz says, could move Ringo to safety and draft one of these badass corners, Hairston or Morrison. Question is would the Eagles go out and draft another corner in the first round? I don't think it's not necessarily a bad idea. I actually don't, in terms of drafting a corner. But I don't know. I think Ringo, he'd have to have I think Ringo needs a whole off season playing safety to just go in there and trust him in that position. I think it's just one of those positions, man. You got to have somebody that can quarterback that secondary, man. You had it when Malcolm Jenkins, you won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You had it with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you won a Super Bowl. I think a giant hole in the safety is not, just doesn't make sense to me at all.
No, yeah, I agree.
And we'll see. Davey says, a member for 12 months. Thanks so much, my man. He goes, Eagles moving up for Shedeur Stewart. Rumors 500. I've heard nothing about anything like that. I've only heard, really haven't heard much in it.
It's been quiet. It's been really quiet. It's been very quiet.
It's like when Howie's this quiet, something happens. You know what I mean? Like when he's this quiet, something big drops. Brian Pumper, thank you for super chat. He goes, "It's too bad I don't see how he drafted Starks. He had a 5 RAS score, and we use that chart a lot. Nick Emmanuel Acho had a 10. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough. He said Emmanuel Acho. He called him
that Nick Emmanuel Acho.
That's messed up, man. I don't know. I don't know enough about that score thing. I know they say that Howie uses it, but I don't know. All I know is that you don't have a safety. You literally don't have anybody.
No, you're empty.
And I'm sorry, but Sidney Brown, I'm not saying he can't do it, but he's got to go earn it. So you got to bring in competition.
Yes.
Gunny Mac, thank you for the super chat. He goes, Howie has gone against the grain all year. Howie had to evolve. He will target a safety, strong safety, free safety in first. He paid a linebacker or running back to start the year. Let him cook. That's what I think, too. I think, these narratives that Howie doesn't do this, Howie doesn't do that, that's all out the window as far as I'm concerned. And I still think that them talking to the safeties at the combine, I think they're looking. And I think it's going to depend. At the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to edge rusher or safety, unless they do something crazy, like try to go way up for like Tyler Warren or somebody like that. I think that's what they're going to do, depending upon how the draft.
Did we talk about the Ojulari signing? Was that after the shakedown last?
No, we didn't. No, we did not talk about Aziz Ojulari, and that's a good point to bring up. I love that signing, to be honest with you. Yeah. I thought that was a great signing for the Eagles. What did you think? What was your take on that?
It's another like low cost, high reward type move. I mean, Ojulari has had some pretty good numbers, even in the less games that he's played. It just comes down to him staying on the field. I mean, a 6-sack guy last year could turn to a 9-10 sack guy this year. I mean, it could happen. With obviously better players around him, and like you're putting a lot into Joshua Uche, you're putting a lot into now Aziz Ojulari. And Ojulari thought he was going to get a little bit more money, probably would have been signed a little earlier in the free agent process, but teams weren't really taking a chance. So why not go to a division rival that just came off a Super Bowl, and another guy that's 25, 26 last year of his, obviously a free agent for 1 year, going to bet on himself and, try to get that contract. He's signing these hungry dudes right now. So,
I love that signing. I thought it was a great signing, great depth piece. I still think Jalen Hunt's the starter there, but I think he'll rotate in. If he got 6 sacks with the Giants, I think he could get you 8 with the Eagles. Yeah. I think it's going to end up being one of those things by the end of the year. We're going to be going, how do we keep Ojulari? We got to keep him. I thought it was a great signing. I like actually where they're at with the defensive line. If especially if you add one more guy in the draft, add another defensive tackle in the draft. I actually like what they have defensive line wise, because I think they're young and talented. So, I don't know if like a James Pierce Jr. or one of those guys fall, but obviously, if you have a chance to get them, I think that would be great too. I just think those guys are going to go way earlier than people think.
They might.
Aziz is going to ramp it up, being around his Georgia guys and playing on better turf. Eagles land Super Bowl. I agree with you.
Makes it so much
better. Blaze, thank you for super chat, my man. He goes, we got to watch out for the tight end Fannin Jr. I forgot Bowling Green head coach is our new quarterback coach, probably putting a good word for him. That's a great point. Now, where do you see this Fannin Jr. going? Like, I don't see him as a first-round pick.
Day 2,
like I'm
probably.
thinking day 2. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 2nd or 3rd round. I've seen 2 guys in the first round at tight end. I think there's only one tight end worth the first-round pick, personally.
Yes,
but he could be a 2nd or 3rd round guy. I really believe in my heart that when it comes down to it, the Eagles will trade up, and it will be either for another edge rusher or it's going to be for a safety. I don't think it's going to be any other position.
Yeah,
however, you never know.
Would you say that they're done at edge rush? You think they've added enough, or you think it's just
The thing is I don't know what's going to happen with Bryce Huff. I don't feel like Bryce Huff's going to be here next year. The fact that they're listening to trade offers for him, I have a feeling that he's a June 1st cut. I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know what to think of him. We've heard the rumors, right? I mean, I'll pull this up. If I still have it on here, I don't know, but do I still have it? I don't have it. But we saw the rumors where they talked about Huff and Goddard were guys that the Eagles were fielding trades for. So to me, I'm not sold on whether he's really going to be here or not. How many times do you hear the Eagles are fielding trade requests for a guy and then they end up staying? It just doesn't really happen often.
Yeah, I mean, and the Bryce Huff situations, I know a post June trade, they saved like $5 million or whatever, but he's got like a cap number of 11.5 next year, and then 27 after that. So it's like, if he's going to be considered tradable, like the Eagles are going to have to pay some of this salary. Like if he's able to dump that entire contract in someone else's lap, I'll be shocked. But I feel like they're going to have to. There's no way they can keep him, and there's no way they could dump that entire contract. So they got to play fair, and they're going to have to pay off some of that. Like they're going to have to pay some of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if they do, I don't know really what they're thinking with him, but I don't know. I would think if they have a chance to move on from him, they're going to do it. I really believe that. But we'll see. Philly Big Dog says we need Malachi Starks or Jalen Walker. Love both those guys. I seen Jalen Walker go. I think it was like number 7. I think they had him like 6 or 7. Like where are these guys going? If you look, some of these mock drafts are all over the place, dude.
Well,
They're all over the place. But I think more so than normal. Like Genty, right, the running back. I seen him go. Somebody had him actually go to the Eagles at 32. Now, how the hell is he going to fall to 32? The Dallas Cowboys would be the dumbest team in the world not to pick him up. And to be honest with you, if he fell, I might take him. I might do it. Why not? I mean, shit. But some of these drafts, these mocks are just out there. Like some of these guys, like Jalen Walker. I could see him. I see drafts where they got him in the 20s. Then I see where he goes to the top 10. I don't remember so many mock drafts where there's so many different like takes on where guys going. Usually you have they're all pretty much in the same area, but they seem way off right now.
It's always going to change. It's always going to change. Like every year's like every time we feel like there's a player going to a specific team, it always changes. I mean, last year's draft was just that was a gift from God. Like the Eagles just killed it. I mean,
it went heavy offense. It went heavy offense. I mean, because what's his face? Like he was supposed to go like 13. It was crazy. Brian Pumper, man, thank you for super chat. He goes, go ahead and say goodbye to Howie drafting Mike Green, Harrison, or James Pierce. He said he don't even consider guys with domestic violence cases. I didn't even know that James Pierce. James Pierce.
No.
I didn't think. I thought he had something else. I didn't think it was.
He had a traffic violation when he had like a fight with a cop or something. I don't think he had anything involving abuse towards women. Yeah, Mike Green. Yeah, stay away. That guy had 2 sexual harassment charges from Virginia that transferred from high school to Virginia. Yeah, like pretty bad.
Yeah, forget that. It ain't happening. Yeah, no. I mean, we'll see. I haven't heard the James Pierce thing, so I don't know. But Mike Green was already off my board. I don't think they would draft. I mean, I don't think they'll draft Harrison, but we'll see. I mean, look, offensive lines. That's to me another one you got to watch out for because they brought in. I think they've brought in 4 offensive linemen. Now, a lot of times, one of the things that they do is they'll bring guys up, but they bring them in positionally. So they'll bring a bunch of offensive linemen one week, and then the next week they're bringing in, defensive ends, and then a week after they're bringing in secondary guys. So we got to kind of see how that plays off. But I think all but like 2 out of the last 10 drafts or something like that guys that have visited have been the guys they picked. I think Devontae Smith and Andre Dillard were the only two that didn't go to an Eagles pre-visit. Devontae because they weren't doing those that year, and then Dillard was a surprise. So if the Eagles bring a guy into the visit, you have a pretty good idea that that's where they're picking from.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Eric, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes, Starks also lined up in the slot at Georgia at times, which could be good if Coop needs to leave for a couple of plays if we ever need it. I agree. I think Malachi Starks. I think Nick Amorwari, not Emmanuel Acho, as what's his face called him, but I think those two guys are legit. And I think, to me, if you put those guys in and just plug them in and let them play, man, dude, I think that secondary set for a long time. I'm not saying they won't have their growing pains, but man, I think they would be set.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
That's what I want to see them do, man. I would love to just get this secondary sorted out for the next 5-6 years. You know, you have Coop, you have Q, you have Reed Blankenship, you have a safety on a rookie contract. I mean, why not?
Do you think defensive tackle would be in the cards the first couple of rounds? Do you think they'll want to get depth?
I think defensive tackle mid rounds. I don't think defensive tackle like first two. Like,
okay.
I think from third on, because you got two defensive tackles in the first round that you've taken. The question is do they want to move on from Jordan Davis? If they were like going to move on from Jordan Davis, then maybe. But then at that point, why didn't you just sign Milton Williams back? You know what I'm saying? Like why did you let him walk?
Right.
So, you know, I think defensive tackle mid to late rounds. I think defensive tackle.
Okay.
I think the first 3 picks are going to be now, and offensive line. You might have to put it in there, but I would guess I still believe the first 3 picks, no order, is safety, edge rusher, and tight end.
Yeah.
I think the first 3 picks fall that way. But an offensive lineman could fall. You never know when it comes to offensive lineman because you have Stoutland, okay? And he can pretty much mold anybody. So a guy late first round tackle could get them playing like a top 5 type guy. So you just never know.
True.
Chris Scott, thank you for super chat. He goes 500. Simmons or Blackman will sign this week. Defensive tackle Walter Nolan or edge Landon Jackson are 2 guys Howie loves. I don't know. I don't know where Walter Nolan will be. Like I don't know where he goes. He does I like the kid too, to be quite honest with you. I don't know enough about Landon Jackson to give you.
I don't either. No.
What you call it? As far as Justin Simmons goes, why?
I'm just like, do you feel like renting somebody this year for the year and just putting a Band-Aid on it? You know, it's like putting a Band-Aid on it.
I feel like we're going back to Kevin Byard. You know, it's like, why? Come on. Yeah. Justin Simmons wasn't all that good with Atlanta last year. I don't think he's the same guy. You know, I mean, you had so much success playing young guys and developing. You got a great defensive coordinator and you got a great secondary coach. Let the young guys play, man. You know, bring in competition and then let, you know, whoever you draft, let them compete with Sidney Brown for the starting job. And let's go.
Yeah. Right.
Antoine Phillips, thank you for super chat. He goes, people forget 500. We have Lakin V for a whole year, just like Malata. Never played. Nobody talking about him. Stout might make him compete at guard. Listen, the one thing I trust is Stoutland. To whatever, dude. Look, how come Andre Dillard could play respectable in Philly, gets a big contract at Tennessee and stinks? Like he gets guys to play at a high level. That's why if I was Becton, dude, I would have took less money and stayed in Philly. I mean, I think Zach Baum was the only smart guy. He was the only guy you know, I want to be here.
He's getting guys that don't stay in Philadelphia, whether they re-sign guys or some of these offensive linemen that leave Philadelphia. You know, Fred Johnson signed with the Jags, you know what I mean? So if they get a little bit of tape and you know, Stoutland gets them on the field because of injury, you know, it's value, you know. So he gets a lot of these offensive lineman contracts, even if they don't play that long. It's kind of insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Philly Sports Fest says defense needs veteran players. I know that's the thought. I know that's the thought, and I get it. And I'm not even saying you're wrong, like bringing like the way they did with Dory Jackson. But here's my thought: is what defensive veteran player is going to come in and show those guys anything? Those guys just won a Super Bowl. They've played at every game at every high level. Do they really need a veteran presence out there?
Well, yeah. Well, that was the whole conversation between when Chauncey kind of chimed in on what Slay said about, you know, you need to have like an old player to be a veteran. Like these guys like Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell have matured so much, have been through everything in one season. Like they're pretty much they're vet leaders at this point, going to their second year.
It's like when people say, well, what do you think about losing your offensive coordinator again next year? I don't care, because to me, Jalen Hurts has played in so many different systems. He's my de facto offensive coordinator at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do get it. You know, a veteran guy. Like, let's say you go out and you go out and get Justin Simmons, right? I have no issue with that move. If you go safety, like let's say whoever, I forget who said it, forgive me, but said that they're going to sign one of these safeties this week. Let's say for argument's sake, they signed Justin Simmons this week. The only way to me that is justified is if you take like Malachi Starks or Nick Warrior, whatever, one of these top safeties. If you don't come away with that and you come away with a safety in the 4th round, and it's like, then why? I don't understand why you let C.J. Gardner-Johnson go. It doesn't make any sense. The only way a Justin Simmons move to me makes sense is you have to get a rookie safety you're going to play above him. That's my thinking.
You know,
I got Christian Parker, right? The defensive backs coach. I got Vic Fangio, and I got 2 corners that have won a Super Bowl, and a safety who has won a Super Bowl. Those guys have shown that they can win. I got a veteran in those guys because they've done more than most guys 5-6 years in the league. So I think for us fans, I think it's
Benito,
thank you for the super chat. He goes, did YouTube take down your game live streams? I had to delete most of my season last year because their policy on some of the casino stuff had changed, and I couldn't risk getting struck with past stuff in case. So it's all gone. I had to delete it. I saved like the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game and the playoff run. I have it all saved, and I'm gonna do like a mesh up of it and post it. But I couldn't have that stuff with the gambling stuff on there because they've changed their policies. And sometimes when they change their policies, they go back
all your
and
old videos
things beforehand. Even though they say they don't, I didn't trust it. So that's why it's all gone. Big Fish Little Boat, they were super chat. He goes, one thing's for sure, boys, no way we stay at 32. That's the one thing we know. That's the one thing we know for sure. They're not staying at 32. There's no way they stay at 32.
No, probably not. Mm-mm.
None. It ain't happening, Joey. Can you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Nick, thank you for super chat. Seeing Huff trade rumors to the Pats and Lions. Yeah, I saw something with Huff to the Lions. I don't know how credible that was. Nothing on the Pats though. Have you heard anything about the Pats?
Nah, just the Lions. That's the only one I heard.
I can't hear you.
My mic's working. It's working.
Let's see. I can't hear you at all. All right, you there?
Yeah. You hear me?
All right, now I hear you.
Yeah,
no, it's shit. My daughter put her AirPods on, and my computer connected to her AirPods. Well, I hate Apple so much. Like, why if you have AirPods, like, why do I have to connect to other people's shit?
Because Apple
just connect to my phone.
Because Apple sucks.
It does. But I'm too stupid to know how to use anything else. Brooks, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. Why not stay at 32? Here's my belief in what. And Brooks, thank you for that super chat, man. Didn't say anything, but thank you. Here's my belief why they don't stay at 32. Because Howie Roseman, he is not going to let the rest of the league dictate who falls to him. You're stuck by people and who they take. He is always going to be aggressive, especially in that situation. So he's not going to let teams, let's say from 24 to 30, dictate who he takes. If there's a guy or somebody he likes on there, he's going to go up and get him. What is it? The last 4 out of 5 drafts, the Eagles have traded up. 4 out of the last 5. It's going to happen again.
It might.
That's why I don't think they'll will. Might go fall. Maybe. No, he ain't fall. I mean, look, everything I'm seeing, these edge rushers are pretty much going early, dude. Now, I did a mock draft where I completed a mock draft for Daniel Jeremiah, and I had the Eagles take James Pierce because he didn't get picked, which would have been one of my favorite guys. But I think he's going to go early. Nobody wants to pay these guys Myles Garrett money. Okay? You got Myles Garrett, then you got Micah. I think the league was surprised. Like, I think they were shocked by how much the defensive ends are getting now.
Who's the edge rusher from Houston? He got paid that 1 year, 35.6, made him the second highest paid from 1 year. One year? Daniel Hunter, 1 year deal, 35.6, a little bit over Max Crosby. I mean, that's right. For 1 year. That's crazy, dude.
It is. And then Garrett was like 40. And then now you have Micah. He wants 40-something million.
He's over that.
I really think if you look at it, I think these teams are shocked that these guys are making that money and they think it's inflated. These teams are going to want to get guys, edge rushers on rookie deals, and that they're not going to have to pay that much money. So I think you're going to see a huge run. And this is just my theory, a huge run on defensive ends and edge rushers. And I think that's going to drop positions like safety, offensive line. I think it's going to drop it back to where the Eagles not wait at 32. They're not going to wait at 32. But if it drop them back in the 20 range, I think it's good. Like, I'll say this. Like, if Tyler Warren gets to 20, if he gets past 16,
Jesus,
I'm on the phones, dude. I'm on the phones. I'm doing everything I can to get up and get him because he's a plug-and-play guy. I'm looking for plug-and-play guys in the first round, okay? Yeah. I want guys that play. I don't want guys that are going to sit. I want guys that are going to play, especially at tight end, safety, or corner. That's what I want, personally. But I don't want to go back to this 32-year-old guy for 1 year, and he stinks, and his name's Kevin Byard, but now it's just Justin Simmons. Is Kevin Byard, is whoever is, it's just different names.
But look at the, Howie Roseman telling us to stay patient, and obviously us looking at, they weren't re-signing everybody. We already knew that going into this offseason, but look at the Bengals signed T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I mean, locking both of them up. And then they have to lock up Trey Hendrickson, because the markets are so crazy right now. Like, how are you supposed to fill out the rest of your roster, for the next few years with all these cap hits going on? So the Eagles have been very lucky with players being very, having a lot of loyalty, and that usually doesn't happen with Devontae Smith's contract, how much cheaper that is to AJ Brown's, and how they got those two contracts done. So you need that young turnover, but when you're paying guys a lot of money, you have a lot of big contracts, you have to draft well, and it all comes down on this draft, especially between this year and then 26. As of right now, you got 12 picks for 26. I mean, you are stocked with picks.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Oh yeah. Brian Pumperman, thank you for super chat, my man. He goes, we going offensive line or defensive line at 32? But if Colston Loverland is there, can we really pass that up? I don't think we'll be at 32. I mean it. Now they might go defensive line. They may even go offensive line. But I don't think they're staying at 32. As far as Loverland goes, Loverland, rather.
Loverland?
I mean, he's the only other guy that you could arguably say he's a first-round tight end. If they think he could start day one, then I think you got to consider it. Like I said, I'm not looking at this draft and going, oh, I'm getting a guy for 4 or 5 years. That shit changed. I'm done with that. I'm going for a guy to plug in right now and play him.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I did with my young guys last year. It worked. It worked. Did. And listen, it's not always going to work that way where the best positions are positions that you need to play, but I mean, an edge rusher, a little different because I look at them and they can rotate in and they're going to get playing time. But man, when you let CJ Gardner-Johnson go, to me, you basically, in my mind, you just put a giant spotlight at that position. Gunny Mac, thank you for super chat. He goes, you think HR draft, you think Howie will draft Jalen Milroe with the late pick? I don't think so. No, I don't. I see his name keep coming up, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we'll see. Super Blaze, thank you for super chat. Loveland's a stud. No, he's legitimately, arguably the only other tight end that you could draft in round one, in my opinion. And to me, if their judgment is he can start right now, then okay, I'm okay with it. But I don't want these guys sitting on the bench for 3-4 years, dude. I can't do it. And no. I just don't want another Kevin Byard situation where, he's got a name, but he comes in and he stinks. I mean, how many times have we seen it where we go out and get these guys 31, 32, and they're just not the same guys? They're just not the same guys.
No,
we don't need to go down that route.
You're a few years too late on Justin Simmons, in my opinion. Just a few years. The only connection is because of Vic Fangio and Christian Park. I mean, that's it. That's I've heard nothing else besides him talking about the Eagles on that podcast. Like, I've heard nothing else.
Nothing.
I
would rather have Julian Blackmon, to be quite honest with you, over him. At least he could play. At least he's 28 years old. At least I know he could play a few years.
Right.
Radio Guru, thank you for the super chat. I just realized I had $5 left over for the strip joint. All yours, pal. Thanks, man. I hope you had a good time. Jihad Campbell's going top 20 hands down. Come on, man. We want to wish. Oh, look, I like him too, but he's another guy that they got going way up. Like, if you look at guys like Campbell and Walker, like, these were guys, even Pierce, like, these are guys before the combine. We're all going around the Eagles. Now that the combine's over, they're all going way before the Eagles. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. How he's got something up his sleeve.
Did we talk about Kenny Pickett getting traded?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't streamed in so long. Like, I'm trying to remember what we talked about and what we didn't talk about.
No, we talked about all that last week, I believe. Yeah. But to bring it up again, what are your feelings about that?
I thought it was great. I mean, a guy not even played 2 full games. You flip him for a 5th. I mean, Tanner McKee, we want to see him play. We want to see him play, especially in preseason, not in the second half of these preseason games. We want to see him like against, first, second stringers, man. Give him a shot, and I guess they like him a lot more. So
yeah. Brooks, thank you for super chat. I feel like we'll get Michael Williams. I like that kid too. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Like I mean, obviously it depends how things fall. But to me, if they come away with an edge rusher, a safety, or a tight end that can play, round one, I'm okay with it. And if it's an offensive lineman, and if it's I don't know if there's a Landon Dickerson in this draft late, like guy who should be first but falls. Okay, I'm okay with that too, I guess. But I just think, like, what are you going to do at safety? What are you going to do at safety if you don't draft? If you wait till the 3rd, 4th round and draft a safety, you're going to have to depend on Sidney Brown, or you're going to have to go out and get a bridge safety for a year.
Well,
To me, it's counterproductive for what you had that made you the number one defense, playing the young guys.
Yeah. Like when they say, like when John Clark put out the news about, you know, when Chauncey was traded, and then John Clark was like, oh, you know, it looks like, you know, that Sidney Brown could be in a competition. So if he's going to be in a competition, so that means they're not drafting a guy that high. I mean, that's how I take it. And that's,
right.
You know, because right now, out of the naked eye, this draft seems too easy with what the Eagles are going to do in the first round. And that's, safety is just a glaring hole right now because Sidney Brown, I think, has a lot of upside, but we need to see him in another offseason program. Trisha McCollum, I'm not even really a big fan of. And, you know, I mean, who else you got back there? I mean, that's
now. Listen, I'll say this. Look, let's say you have, you know, Jalen Walker and Pierce Jr. Let's say you have them rated above any of the safeties, and they're higher on your board. Then take them. I don't want to take the third best guy. I want your best guy.
Yes,
your highest value guy. I just think that the way it's going to fall is it's going to fall where the best talent is. Either you could take the 5th, 6th best edge rusher or the best safety. And I think then they're going to choose the best safety. That's how I think it's going to go. But, you know, we don't know how the draft falls until it happens. T-Bone, thank you for the super chat. He goes, no Super Bowl for 2025. I still think we lost too much talent, defensive ends and defensive tackles. Top concern. Why so many one-year contracts? WTF, is it player's choice or Howie? What's Howie thinking? If we win the Super Bowl again, we go do this again. How many X's are we lucky? I mean, thank you, T-Bone, for the super chat. Here's what I'll say. That the loss of talent, I think, for the most part, has been planned for well before the year even started.
Mm-hmm.
They were planning going into last season that Sweat was going to go, that Milton Williams was going to go. They knew those guys were going to always go. Now, what they're relying on, and I guess we could argue whether you think that they're ready or not, but they're relying on those young guys to go out there and make up for it. I think they're going to on the defensive line. I think the defensive line is going to be okay. Where they threw me off was the CJ thing. So now you've got to fix that. But everything he's doing is because he's thinking about all the contracts that are coming up. He's got, right?
Yes.
He's got Cam Jurgens this year, Jordan Davis. Then he's going to have to get Nakobe Dean. He's got to get, who else? Jalen Carter. That's going to be the big one. I mean, we're talking about Myles Garrett money. He's going to be the highest paid defensive player probably ever. So he's preparing for these picks to get paid because he's picked so well, and they're all coming up at the same time. But once he gets through that, once you get it's not going to be as bad. We're actually going to have we're going to be okay cap space wise.
Yeah,
but this year it's kind of a step back.
Eagle fans want to load up. Okay, they want to load up. They want to extend everybody and be in a big cap. Howie's is not just playing and wheeling and dealing for this year. This is everything down the road. Yeah, sure, they could re-sign everybody, and then what? And then they're going to have big, horrible cap situations down the road. They're going to be over the cap, millions of dollars. Then we have to, spend. We have to restructure and do all this stuff to get under the cap. Like, we're not in that situation anymore. He wants that young turnover. He wants that draft turnover, and he wants to play the young studs. Like, that's what he wants to do. And I think that's what they're going to do going into this. We have to really. I know it sucks. I get it, man. When you lose players, but you want to go into these drafts, ace these drafts, make some really good picks, and just play these guys. You have an offseason program for a reason. And we saw the Eagles defense with the growing pains, especially beginning of the season, and then post-bye week, man, it just took off. So I like that we're really putting a lot into these drafts more than trying to re-sign every single player because we want to hold on to still being relevant to another championship. I think they're still very relevant to another championship right now. We just got to be patient, man. Just got to be patient.
David G says CJ trade was a surprise, but not really since he and Reed are similar. Both are great against the run and struggle in coverage. Upgrade safety position with that, a safety that could cover and keep Reed. See, I think this is why that Reed, the the two things that happened with interviewing all those safeties were interviewed by more than any position in the combine by the Eagles. That was the one they interviewed the most guys. And then to trade C.J. Gardner-Johnson, it makes me think that they're saying, we like Reed Blankenship and we want to give him an extension after this year. But we also got to pay, if we keep C.J., we got to pay him. So why not draft a top safety who we think can be better than what C.J. is in the long run and play right away and be on a rookie contract for 4 years? And then that frees us to sign Blankenship to an extension down the road. That's what I think they're thinking. But, who knows? I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. And listen, and I think Sidney Brown is like, he's potential guy that could play. I think he deserves a chance to go compete for a job. But I don't think you could rely. You can't just pencil him in. You know what I'm saying? Like the one thing about the defensive line, losing Sweat, losing Milton Williams, losing, those guys is I look at like Sweat and I look at his numbers in the playoff. They're almost identical to Jalix Hunt. And Jalix Hunt had like 15 fewer snaps, something like that. I thought that Hunt, the emergence of Hunt and the emergence of Nolan Smith in the playoffs made losing those other guys easier. Even Ojomo and the way he kind of stepped up. So I think we'll be able to weather the storm on the defensive line. We still got Jalen Carter, and that's the most important thing. But the safety position, you got to fix.
Yeah, and I think the build-up moments for even you lose Josh Sweat and Milt weren't like explosive players when they first started playing on field immediately. Like they took a couple years. Like Milt took a few years. Like he got better every year, but man, this was his biggest year of his career. So things are going to take a little bit of time. But what about, I mean, another thing to think about is the linebacker position too. Like I know they signed Patrick Johnson. Do they see him as an off-ball linebacker? Do they see him as more of an edge rusher? There's no depth at that position. Ben Van Sermon, is he going to work out with the linebackers but still play fullback? I would think maybe, right? I mean, is Trotter ready? I mean, I don't know.
I think linebackers is one of those where they're not deep, right? You got Kobe Dean hurt. He's going to come back. Zach Bowen's a stud, and we assume that he's going to be what he was last year. And then you have Trotter, but I think you need another linebacker. I think maybe they do it in the draft, but I definitely think you need another off-the-ball linebacker. And, I think that if they wanted Burks back, they could have got him back. But they're definitely going to need depth at that position because it is kind of thin, especially with Nakobe Dean. You just won't know when he's coming back.
Yeah, right.
That's the problem. Was Goddard traded to the Saints? My God, I do hope in a way we can keep him. Jalen likes throwing to Dallas. I haven't heard anything about him going to the Saints. Have you? Unless it just literally happened. No, I haven't heard anything about that. Brian Pumper, thank you for Super Chat. Goes, hey, fellas, I think we're going Malachi Starks in the first, then Jihad Campbell in the second. What an awesome draft. This is so realistic. Yeah, right. I wish. I mean, I would love that, but no, it's not going to happen. I think Malachi Starks is potentially, if he falls into the 20s, I think you Eagles could go up and get him. You think Campbell will be there in a second? No, I think he's going top 20. I mean, according from the mock drafts I'm seeing, he's going top 20 first round. So he's really going up. He's really shot up the draft boards. But I mean, who knows? But it is what it is. Bringing O-line to talk in the top 30, maybe a Howie smoke screen. I think there's legit possibility of an offensive lineman. It could be one of those positions where they look and go, well, listen, if all the edge rushers we like come off the board and the safeties go early and we don't really have another way to go, let's look at these offensive linemen. I think it's possible. I do, especially with Stoutland. However, I don't know that they would draft a guy to play right guard. Right? Like, I think if they draft the offensive lineman high, I think they're looking for a future right tackle. Don't you think that that's what they would want to do?
Yeah, I think they want a guy that plays guard and that could put and that could. They're looking at a lot of the prospects they've been looking at are guys that have a lot of reps at tackle and guard, like that have played both positions.
Yeah,
And that's been the similarity of who they've brought in on a lot of those guys.
Yep. Frank says 500. The beauty of having Stoutland as offensive line coach is you don't have to draft the O-line in the first round. Right, exactly. I mean, you could find guys in the second, third round, fourth, hell, even fifth, and I think Stoutland could develop them. I agree with that. I don't know if it's a smoke screen. I don't know if it's just like we want to take a look at these guys. We want Stoutland to get a look at these guys or what, but the question is you have to go and you have to look at where these offensive linemen they brought in are projected to go. Like if they're projected to go third, fourth round, because everybody assumes that, you bring in guys only for the first round. It may have nothing to do with their first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
It may be looking at mid-round picks, but they want to talk to these guys. So, who's replacing Milton Williams? Ojomo. He was really, really good at the end of last year. I think he's developing into the way Milton Williams did. I think Ojomo is going to be better next year, and I think he's taking over for Milton Williams.
And Philly, nobody talks about Ojo. I never hear anybody say anything about Ojomo. No one, just like Jordan Davis gets the disrespect that he gets, I think Ojomo gets a lot of disrespect as well.
He does.
A lot of the fan base.
He does.
It does.
And he was good. He was good down the stretch and in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Ojomo will be fine taking over. I still think you'll bring in another defensive tackle. Like you're going to bring in somebody to replace Ojomo. Who's the next Ojomo? That's what I think they'll do.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anything about Goddard to the Saints.
Quiet.
I have not.
Quiet.
Where did you hear that? I like Ojomo a lot, and I think Jordan Davis and Carter will be fine. To me, like I said, it's a safety position. Ojomo produced, and he's another 7th round pick. He is. He is. See, I think one of the things the Eagles have for at least one more year is you have Clint Hurt, you have the Bobby King guy, and then you have Christian Parker. They develop these young guys very, very well. So I like that he's got a whole nother they all get another year of Clint Hurt.
Yeah.
Because it's a matter of time before Parker goes somewhere else and Hurt goes somewhere as defensive coordinators. So Hurt was already a defensive coordinator of Seattle, right?
Yeah.
So, a couple of years and he's going to get another shot. And
you might.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's interesting. It's really quiet right now. And I think Howie's got something up his sleeve. And it may be draft night trade like the A.J. Brown thing. It's going to be something. But, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what they're planning, but.
Just remember, guys, they can't use obviously they can't use the comp picks for next year because the Eagles haven't been rewarded those picks. They'll be rewarded next offseason, those picks. But a pick they can use, because as well as the 4th, 5th rounders they have for this draft, they could still use the Sonoretic pick too, because that pick is only a what's it called? What pick is that's a it's it was a conditional pick. So that pick is all up for grabs if they, I don't know if they're even going to touch the picks from next year. The 4th, 5th rounders, they're going to take one of those, trade and get a pick for next year. They'll probably have 14 draft picks by next year.
I think they'll trade. I think you're going to see like first that like the 32nd pick, a 3rd next year, and then something like late 4th or something this year and move up 10 and 12 spots in the first round. That's what I think they're going to do.
Yeah.
Brandon Hurts, Ojomo will not give us what Milton gave us. We definitely need a defensive tackle. No, I disagree. I think if you look at Milton Williams' production and you look at the way he developed, I think Ojomo's on the same trajectory. I think Ojomo can give you that. And I think you're sleeping on Ojomo. I think he's pretty decent. Now you're going to need another defensive tackle to kind of replace Ojomo and his production as a number 4 guy, but I expect them to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Carlos says Jalen Walker at 32, Georgia Bulldog mentality, winning organization. Those guys sync up on the field locker room. I love Jalen Walker. I don't think he's going to be there. Like I don't think he's going to get close. I don't think he's going to sniff the 20s, let alone the 30s.
Yeah.
So you'd have to trade up for him. But we'll see. Ringo scares me. We need a cornerback too as soon as possible. Thing with the cornerback situation is I think Adoree Jackson can play on the outside. He's not great. I'm not saying he's gonna light the world on fire. He can hold it down and be competent there. And otherwise you're gonna let Ringo go. No, I mean I don't know that they would draft another corner in the first round, but it would be an interesting pick, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Timothy, people forget Ojomo had 3rd round grade in his draft class, way more talented than given credit for. Yeah, I think people are sleeping on Ojomo. I think he's a good 3rd rotational guy. Schwarzer is a first-day draft player, I think, by the Eagles. Interesting. We'll see. Milton was in second pressures from defensive tackle position in the league. Ojomo will be good, but a guy drafted in the 3rd round will be better. Well, yeah, we don't know that. I think in the playoffs, the pressure rate was actually higher for Ojomo than Milton Williams. I think he actually had a higher pressure rate in the playoffs and stuff. So it's a little bit misscrewed because the truth of the matter is you take Jordan Davis off the field on a lot of pass rush situations. You put Milton Williams in there, and you know why he's getting it? Because Jalen Carter's getting double teamed. Jalen Carter is the guy creating that pressure rate for Milton Williams, at least a lot more than people think. Now, I'm not saying Milton Williams isn't good. He is good. But I think Ojomo, I think he's on the same trajectory. I think Milton Williams had a half a sack all year the year before, and it jumped up this year. And I think a lot of that is because of the development of Jalen Carter.
Well, Carter's been the big difference. He's the big difference that makes everybody better around him. I mean, that's that's why you want to see Milton Williams make $27 million a year and be like, he's getting this TJ Watt money. And it's like, hey, what is Milt going to be is he going to be a 10 sack guy? Is he going to be an over 10 sack guy with the Patriots as the main guy? We're going to find out how much success, Milt did on his own or how much Jalen Carter's been a big part of his success. So that's what it comes down to with some of these guys.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he's not good, but, $26 million, a 3rd guy, you just can't do it. No. T-Bone Davis Super Chickens. Nolan Smith worries me. Can he produce 2 years in a row? I'm not yet sold on Jalen Hunt. New signings right now, but I say we still need 2 more dependable DEs. Well, I mean, I guess that's what this whole thing is about at the end of the day, right? The Eagles, this is the card they're playing. We draft guys in the 1st round and in the 3rd round. They go out and they produce. We got to pay them at some point. They're on rookie deals. If they can play, they can play. I mean, I don't know. The way I look at it is, yeah, I think it's fair to say a guy's got to show multiple years that they can play. But what do you really like? You're not losing like a 15 sack guy by Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat's had double-digit sacks one time. I thought Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith in the playoffs were phenomenal. But I guess that's what this thing comes down to. Trust and develop your players, or go out and spend all your money on guys, with names and hope that they can produce.
I mean, I'm not even worried about Nolan Smith at all. I mean, realistically, like, Fangio wasn't here in 23. If Fangio was here in 23, he would have, I think we would have saw Nolan Smith shine a lot earlier. But I mean, you had Sean Desai, you had Matt Patricia that took over. The defense was a mess. They had no sense of urgency. They had no attitude. Like it just that whole season fell apart. So, Nolan Smith had a couple injuries. Then he played late in the season while everything was really falling. There was no direction with and putting players in the right positions to win football games, and the coaching was horrible. Coaching has been the last few years, besides this past year, it's been, you know what I mean? It hasn't been consistent. So now, you have a defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio that has control over every layer of this defense. knows every player's strength and weakness. Knows how to use everybody, but I love how he has no veteran favoritism. Whoever deserves snaps will get snaps. Whoever deserves to play will play. He doesn't just put guys out there because he likes them. He puts guys out there that are showing that they can play. That's what I love about Vic. We were very skeptical of Vic coming here as the DC of this off-ball, multi-transitional defense, and we weren't really, we liked the more aggressive defense, but let me tell you, man, with more time under Vic Fangio and letting these guys compete in the offseason program, I think sky's the limit for a lot of guys, of guys. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. Let me read that, Kyle. Sorry, Philly. I think we could see 4 quarterbacks drafted around. We might. It's definitely possible.
Good.
Yeah, better. That's better for us. Big Sarge says, "I want Starks or Amanwari." Me too. Me too. Nolan Smith showed promises here. I thought Nolan Smith broke out. I almost feel like the playoffs was season number 3. Season 2 he had 6.5 sacks. But season 3, the playoffs, he had 4 in 4 games. He was a monster. I don't think he's going to drop off. I really don't.
No,
I feel very comfortable with him.
Yeah, definitely not.
Question, not Ojomo. I've seen enough. He can play. I need to see more from Sidney Brown and Ringo. Yeah, that's fair enough. And those would be my 2 concerns as well. Ringo's got to prove himself. And I think you got a situation at safety where I just don't think you can rely on Sidney Brown alone. I just don't think you can hand off the starting spot to him. You got to give him competition.
Did Sidney Brown miss a lot of weeks this year, this past year because of the ACL? Was he out going into the regular season?
He was out early on. Yeah, early on. I think he is just really behind all year,
Yeah.
Because of the injury and stuff. And, coming back from a torn ACL, I always tell people it takes 1 full year. So he'll be better next year. But, I still don't know. Even when he was a rookie, I never felt like, oh, yeah, for sure he's a future starter. I don't know. He has to kind of prove it. He has to prove it. And I think he should deserve a chance and an opportunity to compete for the starting job. But I would just bring in somebody to do it. Now, obviously, if they go out and they draft a guy in the first round, then, you want to play the first round guy. So,
of course.
We'll see. Hey, Warrior Rage, thank you for Super Chickens. Hey, 500, don't you usually make it a big deal? Don't want to make it a big deal. But I'm 40 today, been a long road, and didn't think I'd make it past 25. Yeah, here I am. Praise. Hey, man. Happy birthday, Warrior Rage. 40 years old, man. You're young. You're youngin'. Good for you, man. Happy birthday. I hope you're having a great day too, man. You know what I mean? Let's see. Go Bird says, no matter how good or bad he is, you have to admit Sidney Brown's jack. That's true. That's true. That's true. What's weird is Mac Hollins. Dude, they keep showing this video of him running around barefoot, talking about how he loves to be barefoot and shit. I just want to throw up. It's disgusting. Put your shoes on.
Where the fuck did this come from?
I don't know why. It was the hair, Sidney Brown hair, and I said he kind of looked like Mac Hollins, but he wears shoes. And then it was like I keep seeing this stupid Mac Hollins video about him loving to be barefoot all the time. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I would have cut him. I would cut him for that.
Yeah, it's weird. The 2 things I really don't want to happen is I don't want them to sign a bridge safety, and even the last couple of days, there's Calais Campbell still out there. It's I have no interest in signing these older dudes, especially a guy that's 38 that I don't even think has much in the tank at all. Because I heard he's still out there want to go to a playoff team. I don't know. He won't be expensive, but I just have no interest in it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. Beast Guard 24, thank you for the super chat. He goes, let's say if there's no major moves left to come and we just focus on the draft, how confident are you guys that is enough to run back next year? I'm pretty confident. I think if you can fill that safety move in the draft spot in the draft, and let's say, I don't know, you end up keeping Goddard. Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I don't look at Washington. I don't look at Dallas.
No.
I don't look at 49ers. Like, to me, none of those teams close the gap enough. You might argue that the Rams got legitimately better, and I think the Lions are still a threat. But no, I none of them scare me. I think you're still the best team in the. I still think you're the best team in the whatchamacallit. That's just my opinion, though.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. T-Bone Davis super chat, my man. You are too generous, man. Thank you. Because I'm taking a lot of flack for skepticism. Look, I want the Eagles to win Super Bowl every year. Hard to do the one time, let alone two. We lost a lot of good players. Hard to replace to stay the same level. So name defensive players who are solid. I count 6. No, I don't blame you for that at all. I think it's fair. You did lose a lot of good players. The question is what do you think about the guys behind them? I think they're good enough to play. All right. So if we look at 6 good players on defense, right? So you have Jalen Carter. I think he's good. We'll do the obvious ones. I think we would say Cooper DeJean and Q are good, right? That's 4. I think that now I would say that Nolan Smith is good. I would say that's 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say that I think Reed Blankenship is way better than I thought he would. I would say that's 6 solid players on defense. Now, you could still add Nakobe Dean. You could still add Jalix Hunt. But if you don't think much of Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, like if you don't trust them, then I understand your point. But I think those guys are pretty good. I look at Jalix Hunt's numbers in the playoffs, and I put them up with Sweat, and they're almost identical. So,
but dude, like they didn't start Jalix Hunt till late in the season, bro. Like Jalix Hunt never was in an early rotation, never really had a shot early in the season. Like I don't know what week they started like rotating him, but it was really late. It was really late. It was like part of that was
he played more after Brandon Graham got hurt. That's when he started getting more time.
It's like the 4 to 6 weeks. It was like his preseason, I guess, or his like kind of like, get his mind to the speed of the game. And then once he got into those playoffs, he was like, yeah, he was on, bro. Like,
I mean, we were talking about him doing the run. I'm like, dude, did Jalix Hunt? Do you see him, what he's doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then Nolan Smith too. So, if you're like T-Bone and you don't think that the young guys can do that again, then I understand where he's coming from. But I do think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be better than they were a year ago. And I think I look at Jalix Hunt, and I think he's 6 to 8 sacks. I think Nolan Smith 13, 14 sack guy.
Yeah.
So if we're off on that, then yeah, sure, things could be different. But that's what I think they are. So it just depends on what you think of the young guys. I think that when the young guys had to play and they had to step up, especially in the playoffs, they were better than the veterans. That's what I think. Even if you look at Ojomo and him and his pressure rate compared to Milton Williams in the playoffs, it was higher.
Yeah, well,
than whatchamacallit.
I think people are getting too mixed up in numbers. I get like sack numbers are important. I get it, but being disruptive is always going to help somebody else make a play. And if Jalix Hunt's being disruptive, like it's only going to help someone else make a play. I don't even care. Jalix Hunt could have 0 sacks for the year and have like just making up a number like 80 quarterback hit, like just ridiculous. Like it's unrealistic. But I'm just saying, that's all that matters to me because I know the numbers will be there with somebody else. So
Beast Guard, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes saying we have 17 to 22 starters coming back to back. I think they're going to be players for it. Yeah, no doubt about it. Frank says 500. I like Ringo more than people. He pretty much locked down DKMF as a rookie. He just needs to play. I think Ringo needs to play too. I feel like it's very unfair to judge him based upon last year. And even Isaiah Rodgers. It was hard. I'm not saying he's the guy, but I'm saying that I can't go on the way that they played those guys where, Slay's in one quarter, he's out the next quarter, he's in. He's like every game. Like how do those guys get enough reps to really judge them? You know what I mean? That's my thinking. And T-Bone, thank you for super chat again, my man. He goes, one more thing. We have 2 defensive injuries. Now what? My 6 solid players are Blankenship, Q, Coop, and 3 defensive tackles. All others might not produce. It takes 2 years of production to have confidence. So what about, do you feel the same way with Zach Bond? Do you look Zach Bond and say, okay, he did it one time, but can he do it twice?
Well, Q and Coop did it in 1 year.
They only had 1 year too. Yeah.
So why isn't Nolan Smith on the list? Like I don't get that.
Yeah.
How is he not on the list?
Yeah. I mean, because I don't think Zach Bond was a fluke. Okay, if you just look at him being as athletic as he is, he's the real deal. He got moved to the right position, and I think he's going to continue to be good.
And now, Fangio did it with Van Ginkel with the Miami Dolphins. Van Ginkel was a nobody for 3 years until his last year. That got him a contract under Fangio 1 year under the Dolphins. So,
right,
yeah.
Brian Pumper, thank you for the super chat. He goes, we're moving in the right direction. It's a young man's game. These old dudes don't get better. Some of these guys act like we're talking about Sofia Vergara. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but yeah, I agree with you. I agree. This plan was planned out before the last season. I mean, how many times did we talk about last year going, this is Josh Sweat, Milt Williams last? Like, we knew that these guys were in the last year. And I just think they're following the plan. And I think that there's a lot of hope that these guys are better than what they are because we saw Nolan Smith so good in the playoffs. We saw Jalen Hunt so good in the play. I mean, those guys got to be thinking, dude, I can play in this league. I know I can play in this league.
Yeah.
I mean, you played on the biggest stage. So to me, I think they'll be all right. And I think after the draft is completed, my hope is that we're going, damn, Malachi Starks, if he could come in and he can start and he can play, something like that. And that'll be the situation.
It's gonna come down to coaching, dude. It's gonna come down to coaching. It's gonna come down to guys getting reps in the offseason program, seeing how they look. Like that's what it's gonna come down to. I understand you want to pay guys, you want to keep everything in house. Like I get it. The last time we did that, we were in the last time we did that after 17, we started re-signing everybody the next 2-3 years, and then on top of bad drafting, it just you're not going to get far, and it finally caught up to us. So we just gotta trust in it, man. Just gotta trust.
Yeah,
in it.
Slick, thank you for the super chat. Goes Jordan Birch is my pick in the second round for defensive line. That's interesting pick. Now here's what I'll say. If you said to me, all right, give me 3 worries about the defense going in. Here would be my 3 worries, my concerns. 1, the safety position. 2, the cornerback. And 3, Nakobe Dean coming back from injury. Those would be my 3 things that concern me most about the defense. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I feel really good about what we got defensive line-wise. I do. I actually think in some ways we're actually deeper because I think Aziz Ojulari does have 10 sack potential in him. The other kid, Uchezi or whatever we got, he could be a decent rotational guy too.
Because Spags' defense, and Spags said this himself, this was, they traded for Joshua Uche, whatever. And then, it's an intricate defense with multiple fronts, and it's really hard to learn that defense mid-season. Okay, a brand new defense mid-season for Joshua Uche, and he just did it. He only played 6 games, so now he's got an off-season program under his belt with the Eagles under the right coach. I think Uche and Ojulari are gonna be hungry to get those contracts next year. They might play more expected, above average than expected. I think they're going to do really well.
I agree. In some ways, I feel like we're deep. And listen, I still think you add another edge rusher. I do. I still think so.
Yeah.
Joshua
Coochie.
Yeah. How he just signed for $45 million, didn't he? Or was that Nick? How he just signed for Nick? No. What do you mean? $45 million.
Contracts.
Who are we talking about? What contract? Whose contract are we talking about? I believe we could get Trevon Walker in our second rounder. He has 2 years remaining in his rookie deal, so we could trade him away next season, kind of like the Pats did with Cooks. Now, here's the interesting thing with him. He's up for a contract extension. He is going to be one of those guys floating around the $40 million mark. Okay, he's double-digit sacks, multiple years. He's gonna command a lot of money. Now they want to move him. They got Josh Allen. They're paying $30+ million to. So he's a guy that if Howie wanted to trade for, he could trade him and not give him a contract extension, keep him for 2 more years, and then let him go. He could do that. I don't think he needs to, though. I don't think they need Trevon Walker. I think they're going to be good without. Now, if they wanted some security, if they were worried about Jalix Hunt, and maybe, if he's ready for a whole season, then maybe you do that move. But I think the Eagles were going to want to go add another edge rusher in the draft.
And if Trevon Walker was the target, I think obviously if you trade for Trevon Walker, said, hey, let him play the 2 years, let him walk after that, because that's all we probably need him for. And I think you're going to have to give up that 32nd pick. So, yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Brian Pumper, thank you for super chat. He goes, one player no one ever mocks to us is Donovan Ezekiel. Dude had 18 sacks last year. A great prospect. No one talks. I don't even know much about him at all.
I never heard.
So I'm gonna have to go check him out, man. 18 sacks is good. Yeah. Linebacker's thin. I think you have to add depth to that too. I agree. Andrew Barlow, thank you for super chat. Kevin Winston Jr., Penn State. Enough said. Yeah, I mean, here's another safety guy that they're saying if he doesn't get hurt, he's first round potential. I mean, yeah. Something like that would work. You got to do it. I have no problem with that at all. He's from Boston College. I have to check him out. It's going to be interesting, it'll be interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, we're over an hour in. Let me thank everybody for being here, man. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, I mean, we just gotta stay patient, and the draft will be right around the corner. I mean, give it a few more weeks, and we'll be dressed in the Met Corrals, and we'll be ready for some good luck, we'll be ready to
Mine's
go.
washed and hung up, ready to go. No, also, let me say this: you guys still want the main thing shirt? These things are still flying. We got some stuff in stock. We got hoodies. We got the elite version of it. These things have been selling like crazy, so definitely, Joey, if you could drop the link for these.
I got it.
What you call it? That'd be very cool.
Definitely,
these are selling really well. So check them out if you guys haven't. Man, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Really, you got anything brewing tomorrow? What are your plans?
I'll have a video out tomorrow, and I'm just gonna wait and see what happens, man. We still have some things unanswered yet. Still,
a lot of things. Yeah.
So I think things will happen. We just don't know when. So.
Yeah, exactly. I probably will have a video. I have 5 channel membership videos dropping tomorrow. So I'll have a lot of those, and then maybe a regular video. We'll see. But anyways, guys, we are gonna get out of here. We appreciate it, and you guys have a great night, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Howie's got something up his sleeve. But anyways, with that said, you guys have a great night. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, shit! Dad! No! It's over! It's over! This game is over! Cut it off! It's over! Fuck. Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay.
I said run the ball.
Congratulations, Green Bay. Dak Prescott, you need to be fired today. That was on you, Dad. That was on you, Dad. That was on you, Dad.
I said run the ball.
That was on Dak Prescott. Trying to feed the fantasy lamb. You tried to feed the sea lamb. You got to give it to C. Lamb. God!
That's crazy.
It's over! It's over, Dak! Put Trey Lance in the game. Trey Lance can't do worse than you.
I'm an idiot because I buy into this shit. I buy into this shit. Because here's the thing. I am a grown-ass man. And I talk the talk. It is killing me.
I feel it coming. I feel like it's going to take Jerry Jones taking. Cut it off. It's over.
Fuck.